What is up? What is up? What is up? Welcome back, everybody, to another live stream repair. We've got quite the stack, quite the queue that we've built up, waiting for. Oh, geez. I every time I order more parts to do these repairs, I order them a week or two in advance to try to get them before I run out. And be it I use UPS or FedEx or USPS, they always get delayed, and it's good times. Good times. As much as it's like the same thing as like leaving earlier to get to work on time. But the paradox being, the earlier you leave, the worse traffic gets, and the longer it takes completely negating you trying to leave earlier. Such is life. We've got Dario's that we need to wrap up first. So, we already tried a USB restore on this one. It didn't take it. It's going to need a replacement logic board until we decide to repair their what's wrong with their logic board one day. But I've got enough working ones set aside to replace it. Alright. So we're going to take this apart and do a little bit of maintenance. In particular, on the amplifier board is a diode that tends to fail and cause no power, and filters that decay over time and lead to death farts and roasted bass speakers. And then we'll put it back together with a working logic board. And that should be it for this one. Sounds like it might be about time for me to replace the bit in that. All right. We'll put that off to the side. Maybe we can get it working again one day. Oh yeah, the stream before the storm. Pretty clickbaity, but that's how most of my stream titles go. Nothing crazy going on here. We just have some wind advisories coming up in a few hours. I guess we're gonna have 30 to 45 mile an hour winds with gusts up to like 65, 70 miles an hour, which isn't too big of a deal every once in a while here, except the wind is blowing in the opposite direction than it normally does. Normally blows westward, I believe, and this upcoming storm's going to be going eastward. And that's a problem because all of our trees here don't have a problem standing up to high-speed winds as long as they're coming in the same direction they've always been coming from. They built themselves up for it over time. But as soon as you have wind coming in the other direction, that's when trees can get blown over. Luckily for us, the worst that might happen is some power outages. I don't have any trees that would, if they fell eastward, they wouldn't fall on our house, thankfully. So we're pretty safe staying in here. It's gonna suck not having power if we lose it, but that's why I'm trying to. What a time. I get delayed and backlogged because my filters got delayed in shipping, so I couldn't fix anything until today, and today we have a storm coming in that might take our power out for a while. Oh, well, that's not the right, it's not the right size there. There we go. All right. Here is where most of the action happens. Let's check out the date code on our diode. We have a 46K, so that one would fail eventually and cause no power. Good thing we're already in here. And there are our filters that go bad and cause base issues. So let's get those knocked out first. Hello, hello, welcome Francisco. I already see the wind starting to pick up. Yesterday they said it was going to hit around 2 o'clock, and it's 2 o'clock now, but then it got pushed back to I think 5 or 6. So we have a good chance of getting everything we need to fixed before too late today. All right. Our filters for flatulence have been fried and replaced. Let's get that diode out of here before it causes no power. All right. Let's get this back together. I'm actually going to use this logic board. I don't think I tested this one for more than a day or two. But this one has been testing for a few weeks, so I know it's good. Or at least as good as we can test it. Goodness, sometimes we fix these with blinking volume buttons and like 2 weeks later long after they've gotten it back and set it up and it's been working fine, it likes to brick itself again. These have been by far the most difficult of all the issues to repair. And typically when we reball the NAND, that doesn't fail again. But some of the parts pods that we've hoarded and collected over the years with blinking volume buttons, we went through them all, of course, and saw which ones we could restore and use as for replacements for other people's HomePods, like Dario's. So that way I could just be like, oh, they need a logic board, and here we go. Freshly restored, up to date, good to go. But the tricky thing with that is the blinking volume buttons issue can be, it might be fixable with the USB restore, but that doesn't mean that it was purely a software issue that caused it in the first place. Because if you think about it, if the storage chip has an intermittent connection to the board and it happened to fail at the wrong time, say during an update, then it could temporarily brick itself and maybe fix itself, or work well enough to take that USB restore and work for a few days before it fails again. That's why I try to test all of the logic boards that we use as replacements, at least for a few days, if not longer. Because yeah, like I said, sometimes they take a restore, they work fine for a few days or a few weeks, and then they re-brick themselves again, and that's usually a sign of a hardware issue. Usually the storage chip or its solder giving out, of course. And there it is. Didn't even disturb our plastic film. Easy peasy. Let's make sure this gives us the magic sound. Alright, we've got a factory reset and ready to go white HomePod for Dario. Let me grab my marker so I can put his name on here. We want to just sanity check that it is all fixed up. And to do that, the final testing that we do for a HomePod before we ship it back out is we give it a restore and update, of course. We set it up on our home, play music to it overnight, and then we reset it and unplug its power and plug it back in, and basically repeat that 2 or 3 times over the course of a day or so until we ship it back out. Alright, plug that in, get it going. See if maybe we can set it up and test it out on the stream here. Next up is Harrison. Harrison sent their HomePod in for death farts. Let's shoot them a link so they can watch. Okay. Oh wow. Harrison let me know in the time they sent this one to us, their other HomePod started death farting as well. Jeez. There we go. Okay. So, Harrison here, as I said, they've got death farts. We took a peek at it on our last stream, and I didn't notice anything without taking it apart, but we didn't, to be fair, really look that long or wait. But I did leave it on my test bench over the weekend, and it's definitely got the death farts. That's caused by those 4 little capacitors, those 4 filters that you saw us replace on Dario's HomePod amp. Out of, just for preventative maintenance, this is what we're trying to prevent. And I point at it and say this like you can see what I'm talking about. Well, let's get it apart, and maybe I can do a quick little demo. Oh, let me get Dario's HomePod configured at least here while I'm thinking about it. I'm gonna put it into our test home. And I noticed that this, not the setting up Wi-Fi step, setting up iCloud, this step, ever since like 17.6 or 18.0, takes forever. And what's dumb is eventually it'll finish. It'll get to an iCloud terms of use agreement page. You have to hit I agree. And if you don't hit I agree in a timely manner, you have to start the setup all over again, and you have to wait all over again. It's so dumb. Like, they're gonna make me sit here for 5+ minutes, actively staring at my phone, waiting for the 5-second window that I have to hit I agree before it makes me try again. And man, it's got to be a bug that only I'm seeing and maybe a handful of others. I cannot imagine that this is just the way it is now and how everybody uses it, like how it works for everyone. It used to be snappy setting these things up. You'd have one configured in just a few minutes versus waiting a few minutes just to hit agree for it to finish after a few more. And it's, really it's all a minor complaint. How often are people needing to set their HomePods up, right? Steezy's back. Welcome, welcome. I'm doing pretty good myself here. I hope you and your HomePods are holding up fine. There it is. If you miss that, I'm serious, you have like 30 seconds to a minute at most after that pops up. If you don't hit agree right when it pops up, the HomePod setup times out and you have to do that all over again. Alright. What's the day code on our diode? 26K. So that one's not going to fail and cause power issues. It looks like we are only concerned about our filters here. Let me double check the condition of our subwoofer and make sure it didn't get thrashed. No, it looks good and it smells good, so let's get these filters replaced. Oh, excuse me. Goodness, wow. That came out of nowhere. Oh, I think I cracked one of my teeth, like, grimacing from so hard from that. Ow. Alright. Back together you go. Did I, seriously? Did I just, like, not put 3 of those back in there? And none of you were gonna stop me? You were just gonna let me put this back together, missing half its amplifier screws, folks? I see how it is. I see. I mean, we could get away with it. There's 14 screws holding the amp in, and we only forgot 3 of them. But we aren't gonna do that to them. There we go. Alright. Let's make sure that still turns on. Very good. Let's find our next repair. We got John here with blinking volume buttons and unable to reset.
I'm having trouble connecting to the internet. For more info, check the Home app.
Alright, volume buttons.
I'm having trouble connecting.
Looking good. Alright, onto the test bench you go. Okay. We've got John. We've got two Johns today, but this one is bricked. We presumably have the classic blinking volume buttons here. Let me go grab my laptop and my restore dongle. Okay. Oh, wife is home. Let me help her bring stuff in really quick. I'll be right back. Watch those volume buttons play. Okay. That HomePod better be blinking. Hey, look at that, it's blinking. Alright. Drop the bass. And let's get this stuff. Alright, sorry. Let's get the Mac up.
I got you some sushi since I wasn't able to get everything. Yes. There's a little treat your salmon lovers. Put it in the fridge for you.
Okay. USB in, power, in, Gaster Pwn, Gaster reset, iDevice restore, what's it got? Give me a restore. Possibly invalid IBEC. Not good. If we look at my restore guide, possibly invalid IBEC. Yeah, that's definitely a hardware issue on the logic board. That's either the storage chip or the solder that connects the storage chip to the logic board have unfortunately failed. This is far too common of the way that these tended to fail, especially as they age. So for John here, if they want this working again, they'll need to have us replace the logic board. But while we're in there, we can do the preventative maintenance, keep all the other common issues from happening, and keep it going for a long time. We'll let them know their options. Okay. Not my favorite way to move on to the next repair, but here we go. Let's look into Tom. Let's see, Tom has no power. Excuse me. All right. Alex. Good morning and good evening. room is a mess. All right. Here's Tom's HomePod. Let me get organized here. Okay. Nighttime where you are. It's, let's see. Where in the world is it 6:50 p.m. right now? Where are you? Let me guess where you are. Don't tell me. Bolivia? No. You wouldn't be in Bolivia. Caribbean. Oh, very cool. Let's see what this one has. Yep, sure enough, another one with no power, no lights, no nothing here. We got 6 watts of power draw at the wall. Let me grab a drink and we will crack this one open. Man? Who is this man's name? Cheers, folks. That weather's getting kind of ugly. Oh. Here we go. Oh yeah, storm. It's gonna be storming over here. We don't normally get any kind of severe weather whatsoever. But apparently there's a huge windstorm that's gonna be coming through here in a few hours, it looks like. 30, 45 mile an hour winds, gusts up to 65, 70 miles an hour if I'm not mistaken. Nothing that we don't see around here, but the problem is it's blowing in the opposite direction. I think the wind that we normally get comes from the west, and this storm is blowing the wind to the east. So all of our trees are used to west blowing wind, and it's when the wind, after many, many years, suddenly changes direction that it starts blowing trees over. So I'm expecting power to go out. Great timing, because we've been backlogged waiting for our HomePod parts to be delivered so we could do more of them, and the day that all our parts get delivered, it won't be a late one, I'll say that. Oh, Aaron. I think I saw that proximity sensor. I saw your email after our stream looking at your radio. I did not know that it had a proximity sensor that turns the display off. That is really interesting, and just super. That whole radio is super cool. But it gave me some more ideas. Maybe it's not. I mean, it might just be loose cables, and when we were fiddling with it, we got it working again. I'm gonna resolder some of those connectors that I'm suspect about, and then I'm gonna clean the faceplate, because I have a feeling maybe it was just something covering the proximity sensor, maybe. Not letting it function properly. I'm not too sure. You would think if it was the proximity sensor acting up, then well, actually, let me think. I wonder if when it turns the display off, if it doesn't know that your hand is in front of it to turn it on, does it disable the buttons too, or are the buttons only active when the screen is actually turned on? Because if you remember, when we first plugged it in, it turned on. We didn't see anything on the display, but it turned on and it started playing that CD that was in it. Which I think the display just wasn't connected all the way. But I do wonder if it was the proximity sensor misbehaving, or getting a fake or a bad reading. I'm not sure. I would like to have another stream and take another look at it once I'm all caught up on these HomePods. Probably it's looking like maybe Thursday or Friday-ish. And then my goal is to have it figured out and ship it out to you by this weekend. For everybody else watching and tuning in, Aaron sent in their car stereo. It's an older JVC model with some pretty fancy bells and whistles, but it stopped showing anything on the display, and we took a look at it on our last live stream. Got it working again just by taking it apart and cleaning things up. making sure it was all connected properly. Here we are. Let's first replace our fart filters. Oh, sorry, Alex. I just I missed that question. What state am I in? I'm in Washington. Not the city, the state. If you wanted to look up the windstorm that we're about to have, you'd search for like Bellevue windstorm on Google or something like that. Bellevue, Washington windstorm. It won't be a big deal. Alright, farts be gone. Not that they had them, but they definitely won't for a while now. There's our 48K dated diode. Let's get that replaced. Alright. That'll do. Jose, what is up and welcome to the stream. Thank you for filling out one of those requests. Always makes it quicker and easier for everyone. Do keep an eye out on your via email or text messages, whichever one you wanted me to bother you on. I am just a teeny tiny bit behind on emails, so you'll probably hear back from me about a day after you submit a repair request. But rest assured, we're here, we're still fixing, we're not going anywhere. Look at that. Oh, look at that. Wow, another one. Let's pull up our email on the next repair and see what we're dealing with. Dum ba bum. Let's see.
I'm having trouble connecting.
Very good. Alright, who's next? We've got Eric. What is up with Eric's HomePod? Does anybody have any guesses? Let's see. Eric. Will not update to the latest OS. Stuck in configuring. And it makes popping noises. Okay. We'll go ahead and call this maintenance, because we're not, at a glance, it doesn't really seem like there's anything really wrong with this one. Sure, it won't configure an update, but that's nothing that a little USB restore won't help with. And they've also got some popping that they were concerned about. We'll see what's up with that.
I'm having trouble connecting to
Okay, so that does that does have a pretty decent pop in there. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take this apart, and let me make sure here. Alright, cool. So we gave him an estimate for the full maintenance. That's what we're going to go ahead and do here. We'll get it all the way apart and get to that amplifier. Replace those filters that are most likely on their way out the door, and we're only a few weeks or months away from death farts that will ravage the subwoofer speaker. So we'll keep that from happening, and we'll replace the Schottky diode if it's got one that will fail and cause no power too. Then we'll get it all back together, and we will kick off a USB restore to get it on the latest version. That should be it. Subwoofer is in good shape still. Oh boy. There we go. Now we can see my cameras. And that wind is starting to pick up. Saw some stuff flying around out there a few seconds ago. guess we should try to haul some ass and finish these up, huh? Let me go grab another drink. Fuel ourselves through this. Cheers. Alright. Fart filters, here we come. The wind is really picking up, folks. Don't be surprised if our stream abruptly ends. Can I squeeze these last 3 out before we run out of time? Alright, so we do have a 48K dated Schottky diode right here. These tend to fail and cause no power. So it is a good thing that we got in here and we're doing this work. We're preventing all sorts of problems with this guy. This one was an absolute winner. I generally tell people do not spend money on your HomePod just to try to prevent issues. You know, don't send it in to us for maintenance unless it does give you issues. Then don't put it off. Get it fixed. But I usually tell people don't bother spending money on your HomePod unless it is giving you issues. It won't cost any more or less if you want to try to send it in to prevent these issues, or if you want to wait until they happen and you get them fixed after the fact. So long as you don't continue using it when it does have an issue. Because, you know, say your HomePod works just fine, but you're worried about it having this diode and it causing no power issues in the future. So you send it in to me to get maintenance done. I take it apart, and lo and behold, you don't even have the same diode that would fail and cause no power. All for naught. Not quite, because we replaced those filters on the back side of the amp. All of those filters naturally decay over time and will lead to death farts and bass issues. That's just the nature of ceramic capacitors. Their crystalline structure sort of relaxes over time, and you can either recondition them by bringing them up to their Curie point, or you can just replace them outright. And you got to be careful if you replace them, because even quote-unquote brand new replacements, if they sat on the shelf, they don't have to be used to decay. They decay whether they're being used or not. They have a finite shelf life, let alone a finite lifespan in use. So, I offer the maintenance. It's there for people that want to stay ahead of issues, but I by no means encourage everybody to rush and spend money on stuff that doesn't clearly and give you a reason to really need it. Eric here is a bit of a special case too, because theirs is not configuring software issues. So we're making it worth their time. We're doing the hardware maintenance, and then we're going to get the software up to date for them. Make it a happy HomePod.
I'm having trouble connecting.
All right.
To the I'm having trouble.
We will get that reset and updated. Let's move on to the next one. It is Jason. Jason with no power. After that, we've got just one more. Just kidding, I had 5 more show up today, but goodness, I don't have the time for it. Let's get Jason's up here. Jason's got a return label in the box. Very nice. Let's see what we got here. No lights, no power, no nothing. A couple of watts from the wall. Y'all know what that means. Probably another dead diode. Let's prove it. Here we go. Here we go. First up, those filters. All right. Dead diode, here we come.
I'm having trouble. I'm having trouble.
All right. Jason is fixed. Leaves us with one more. We got John's HomePod here. Let's shoot them a message. Bad bass. Ooh, we got a fun one to end the stream today, folks. Jonathan with bad bass. All right. Let's take a listen for ourselves. Jonathan, welcome. Ah, that was fast. What's it got for us?
I'm having trouble connecting to the internet.
The bass sounds okay.
I'm having trouble connecting.
Now, Jonathan, what was going on with this HomePod? Was it doing the death farts like this? Or would the bass cut in and out and everything else was working fine? Because at a glance, this one seems to sound just fine right now, at least. Let's go ahead and reset it.
Your HomePod is about to reset. Keep pressing until you hear 3 beeps.
We'll see what that sounds like when it plays the setup chime with that loud bass drop associated with it. Sounded like a bad subwoofer. Okay, so I expect to hear some funny business once this finishes resetting here. Roblox. Cheers, folks. Oh. Okay, all right, okay. We've heard that plenty of times here. Do you by chance have an angry ex-girlfriend that might have thrown this across the room? What I'm getting at is that is physical damage. Once we get this open, we will certainly see a busted up, bent subwoofer, maybe some broken plastic floating around in there too. This thing must have been dropped at one point for it to do that. So, angry ex-spouse, kids with a lack of responsibility, you know what I'm getting at. Something happened to this HomePod and it didn't happen all by itself. Yep, that is not sealed at all. I can tell just by how much resistance it gives when I push it in. It should give a little more resistance than that, which means that air is getting through. Ooh, that screw is really bent. So is that one. So I expect to see a bend in the subwoofer in this area. That's probably where our leak is. Ooh, yep, sure enough. It won't show up very well on camera, but you can kind of see how right here is it's darker than the rest of the subwoofer. That's because this is bent in. And looking at it from the side, yeah, that's where it's at. Okay. Here is our problem. Does that show up on camera? That is bent. It should be up here a little more. Level with, you know, this side and this side. Oh, there you go. Now you can really see it. So, let's get... Where's my sledgehammer? Oh, not my sledgehammer, my, I don't know. I don't know what it's called. I forgot. I'm spacing out. Let's straighten this out. Haha. I think that'll do it. Can you tell me where it is now? No, you cannot. And to tell if that is straight enough or not, we could put the foam gasket back on, screw the subwoofer down, and do the same test and see if it feels firm and if it makes any squeaky sounds. But what I like is these new nitrile rubber gaskets that we've been replacing these old foam gaskets with. They do result in a tighter bass response, improved bass altogether. It's a noticeable difference, but they are less tolerant to bent subwoofers. So with these foam gaskets, you can have a little bit of a bend in your woofer and it won't matter. But with these solid rubber ones, they don't tolerate it. So that is a good test to see if this is in as good of a shape as the factory would send it in. And then we won't just slap this together and charge them a bunch of money and call it a day. We're already halfway in there. We might as well get that amplifier out and do the usual maintenance to prevent the other more common problems from taking this HomePod down and having it sent back to us. But first, let's see if our subwoofer is straightened out. Yeah, that's it. Alright. Let's do our maintenance. And we'll put this all the way back together. Alright. Here we are. Let's get those filters replaced. Oh. This isn't a suggestion, Jonathan. This is a mandate. This is a requirement. I will not do a repair on a HomePod if I can't do what it needs to send it back to you and be confident that it's gonna last. And you don't got to worry about it. It's not it's all covered in the estimates I give people. I don't like surprises. I plan to do all this extra work on these when people send them in, regardless of what the problem is. Because boy, if there's one thing that I hate the most about doing HomePod repairs, the biggest thing by far that I hate the most is getting a HomePod back that I've already worked on. Especially if it's something that I could have prevented. That's why we do these filters on them all now. Because we've done so many of these for no power, and then they didn't have death farts, so we didn't bother replacing the filters. They tested fine too, so only a matter of months before we hear back from people, hey, my HomePod, you fixed it for power issues, no problem there, but now it has death farts. I got real, that ain't right. I don't like it. And it's just nice to, we've worked on so many of these, like thousands of them now. We know what goes bad, we know what lasts, we know what to worry about, and I can, I feel confident, and, I don't feel like shit charging people money to do this work, because I know it's going to last. And I wouldn't bother offering these services even if we could fix them, but they wouldn't last long. No, I wasn't ready for it until I was reasonably confident that these were worth it. Alright. Now the most infamous part, that Schottky diode, has a date code of 26K. So, good thing there, I guess the good news there is that one was never going to fail and cause power issues. We won't bother replacing that. But those filters naturally decay over time. They're ceramic capacitors, and the ceramic crystalline structure relaxes, and they lose their effectiveness at doing their job, basically. Even if you're not using them, even if you've got brand new ones sitting in the package on the shelf, they will decay over time. And that will inevitably lead to death farts and bass issues. So, we do not want to see it, and we don't want to hear it. Excuse me. Sounds fixed. Awesome. Folks, that is all that I've got the time for here and now. If your HomePod says it's been delivered, hang tight. Hope you all enjoyed this live stream repair, and I hope to catch you in the next one.